That something happened overnight. It was a key decision finally made about short-term rentals. Overnight, Austin city leaders agreed to put a temporary ban on issuing licenses to Type 2 short-term rentals. What's that? Those are properties where the owner doesn't live in the home. So Mike Kanan with the Austin Monitor was there as city leaders heard from a long list of people for it, people against it, and it was a long night, wasn't it?
It was a long night. We got to this about I think about midnight. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so what were they saying, people for it and those against it? Kind of give me both sides here.
So I think the for contingent is the easy one to sum up. They're really worried about sort of their neighborhoods being invaded by, I think, what they would term as commercial short-term rentals. The industry disputes that terminology, notes that these are owned by private individuals. That's a sort of a central dispute going on there. Anyway, I think that the folks who operate Type 2s would say that they're just business people and that there really aren't very many bad actors, the folks that produce those what everybody's been calling party houses.
Right.
And I think that so you saw a little bit from both sides last night. There was not a lot of official sort of, we didn't hear from HomeAway, we didn't hear from Airbnb.
Oh, okay.
I think that there's some level of resignation in the air about the fact that this was going to happen, just based on what's been the sort of sentiments around City Hall.
Okay, so in the end, what did the council decide after hearing both sides of the argument?
That we're going to have a moratorium, a one-year moratorium on the issuance of licenses for these Type 2s. These are the homes that are sort of owned but not occupied by the owners.
Okay, and so this starts November 23rd. It ends on 2017. Did they talk about if it's going to be lengthened after 2017 or?
It's an interesting question. So they're going to have to come back and have a conversation about whether or not they want to extend it.
Okay.
And in the meantime, city staff is going to produce a study that's going to look at, what's going on here. And I think that once they have that data, I think that the council members feel that they'll be in a better position to make a longer term decision about whether or not we want to ban these things altogether.
Okay, another interesting topic besides this one has to do with renters. What happened here?
So Councilmember Renteria has been working on some language, an ordinance that would sort of provide some sort of relief for tenants displaced by whatever variety of things, whether somebody sells their building or their building falls apart, as we've seen all too often in the past few years. And his program was initially passed yesterday, basically initially passed, meaning that they're gonna have the city manager look into the feasibility of relocation sort of softening, whether they need to give more notice, or the landlords need to give more notice, whether landlords need to provide some funds to sort of offset the hardship there.
So again, kind of giving renters a little bit more rights on what happens if something happens in their home and they don't know what to do.
And this all goes, both the short-term rental stuff and all of the short-term rental stuff that we've been talking about over the last, I guess a year.
A long time, yeah.
And this too goes to this question of affordability, this sort of nebulous idea of affordability in the city, and I think it just illustrates the concern that's out there.
Okay, a lot to talk about always on Fridays. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.